was sticking in my mind.
Hello, folks. Greetings. I'm seeing here my new glasses. I bought some new readers yesterday. I'm going to be a little nicer to these, I think, because I'm a creature of habit, and I do tend to set things down. I'm doing things. It is the 4th of February. Cheers. Well, the year starts off with a bang regarding the passing of time in the clock. Heard yesterday that Aston family man Barrett of the Bob Marley and the Wailers passed away yesterday. Here I'm showing this. Never got to see Bob Marley, and I was slow to catch on to reggae. I actually had a strange, almost anti-reggae attitude at first. And when I look back on it, I'm not sure why, but when it finally hit me, I was floored. But it wasn't until after Bob Marley was dead that I really connected to reggae. I mean, I heard this stuff when I was a kid, and then ska. I liked to dance as a kid. I liked to dance, but reggae came out of ska first, and I didn't like ska, and to this day I don't like ska to listen to. It's to dance to, and it's this happy loose. I have nothing with happiness. I haven't put it into words yet, but it's my observation about human behavior, which says there's a lot of times when people, okay, I'll put it this much. There's an aspect of good times and wanting to have a good time where it just teeters over into madness and weirdness. And so I'm kind of like this, So reggae, I have a Aston family man Barrett story. So when I finally went to see the Wailers, I forget when it was. I bought this at the show, so it was maybe around early 2000s, okay? It was in Lincoln, Nebraska. And they still had at least three original Wailers in the band, including Family Man Barrett, okay? I think the guitarist had been with Bob Marley for a long time, too. Anyway, it was a really good show, and the guy that they had doing the Bob Marley, it was like a lookalike in the whole thing. He carried it well. But at the end of the show, and I'm just kind of milling around, getting ready to leave, up comes this fellow named Ralph. I forget his last name. Ralph it's really interesting that he lives in Nebraska, but he was Bob Marley's mother's lawyer. Sedella Booker, Bob Marley's mom. So this man, Ralph, who I don't know well, but his friends, has been longtime friends with another friend of mine who I'm pretty close to. And he came up to me as the show is over, and he says, hey, don't go anywhere. Somebody needs to meet you. That's how he said it. It wasn't that I want you to meet Aston Family Man. He said, I got somebody that that needs to meet you. Why don't you come on back with me? Well, I knew the connection already to Marley, so I knew that we were going to get to go backstage. So that was cool. But when we get backstage and everybody's milling around, and we get back to the main area where Family Man is chilling, and blunts are just, it was a smoky room. They didn't care in the club. So Ralph brings me up to a Family Man, and he says, man, this is somebody I've been meaning for you. You need to meet this fellow. This is I didn't expect it. he was very complimentary of me to Family Man Barrett, saying, "This is the bass player from this state that you need to meet." And Family Man was totally cool with me. I mean, he's got the relationship with Ralph already for years, with Bob Marley's mom, so they're tight, And it was like I was brought into the inner circle immediately. And I had this with me, and I was originally, once I thought that I was going to get backstage, I'd get it signed. We got so blasted, I forgot. That's the best part of it. I got to blaze up with Aston Family Man Barrett. Now, the other thing that I will share with you is that in the 90s, I played in a reggae band with some amazing musicians. One, a Rasta from Jamaica, Mellow Man Reed. He was in the Gladiators, and he sang backups on some Ethiopian early singles. Well, and here's another connection to the blues. So this band, Righteous Vibration, was started by Bobby. Bobby is the stepson of Muddy Waters. Okay? Now, he's not just the stepson. He lived with Muddy Waters for many years. Into his teen years, Muddy was his dad. I'm in the inner circle when it comes to the history of this stuff, I've lived it. But anyway, when Bobby was able to corner Mellow Man to join the band, was very exciting. But the first person that Mellow Man jumped was me. He says, "Boom clot, that ain't no reggae bass. Get them hips shut the fuck out of that bass, man. You're supposed to be the foundation, the earth. I love the way the man talked. It was a character. He did jail time with Toots and the Maidles. Real deal, So anyway, it was because of Mello that I started to study very closely Family Man's bass playing, and also, is it Robbie Shakespeare? I think I misspoke on Facebook and said Sly Dunbar. I've met him too. Sly and Robbie, met them both. So it was through studying the bass playing of Family Man that I figured out how to play reggae bass. It's actually not easy because it's the secret. The swing comes not from the bass, it comes from the drums and the lilt of the phrasing on top of it. The bass is very, very steady. It was tough for me to learn, actually. If someone asked me to play a reggae gig, I would actually have to rehearse to do it. So rest in peace, Family Man Barrett. Okay, so been practicing quite a bit this week. But besides that, I did play a couple records. And if I don't forget, I want to make a comment about Black History Month. But first off, Metro from Hungary. This is something I found years ago, and I could tell that it was cool, but when I got it and played it, I didn't get it. Last night, this was a delight. From Hungary, this was in 1969, and the deal is, Hungary is a Eastern Bloc country. Did I get that right? But it's not like England or Italy. It's like the culture is different, and you can really hear it in how they interpret what they think is psychedelia and the Beatles. It's very Beatles-esque. There's sound effects on here and some wild fuzz guitar. This is real cool. And it was like, whoa. Once again, it's one of the things I love about the record collection. Had been meaning to pull this because I never play it. Courtney Pine. Courtney Pine is he's forgotten. At the end of the 80s, kind of like, I see a connection between old school, like John Coltrane, Sonny Rollins, all those guys. Then there was the period like in the 80s where there was a resurgence, seemingly, in interest in jazz, and Courtney Pine was one of the rising stars, I thought. And I see him as a connection to now Kamasi Washington. As I listened to this last night, the whole album, because it's really good, I heard the whole blackness quotient with the black female vocals on some of the tracks, where it just goes straight into black music as opposed to jazz. This is really good. Courtney Pine. I didn't even look at the personnel last night. I really enjoyed it. And Courtney Pine, I think he went into teaching, I think. So this will get a review, but it arrived in the mail yesterday. I got so busy with rehearsal and another track that was sent to me that I'm going to participate on, more on that later, that I haven't even played this yet, but this came in the mail. If you see this, Matt, from British Progressive Jazz, thank you. Homebrewed Elton Dean, Steve Miller, Pip Pile. I haven't even played it yet, but those are the cats. This is the Canterbury. These are the cats. I'm looking forward to listening to this. Was really a little bit blown away because it's not. I appreciate it. It's not cheap to send this stuff. I would imagine that maybe he gets a business discount, perhaps. But I'm looking forward to getting into that today. I'm supposed to have a recording session with Blake today. I hope he shows up. I won't be mad if he doesn't, because I know he played this weekend. I'm really understanding Blake. He's like most of us, he's a mess. Love that man. So thank you, Matt. British Progressive Jazz. You'll be hearing a review of that once I get into it. But those are my players. Happy to say that I did get to meet Pip Pile when I saw Gong in 1996, and hung out with them all afternoon. That was nice. It wasn't just get an autograph. I hung out. Didier Malherbe, I interviewed him, what was it, a year ago or so? The horn player from Gong, he gave me his card. I still have it. Said, well, let's make some music. I was too freaked out to follow through. Pulled this. Here's another record that I received from the L'Amour label in Sweden. Number 42 out of 100. This is wonderful down-tempo dub electronics. This is a collaboration between, let me get this straight now, Pro 424 with Slim Vic, that's Victor Zeidner, and one other person is listed. Gavle Stockholm Dub, Ingeman's Land. This is really good. Real good. It's that sort of thing where it goes between ambient spaces and beats. This is really good. If you like the Orb, you would like this. L'Amour is a label that probably does well in his home country, Sweden. Here's a picture of the folks. He sent me a postcard. But I don't see people posting L'Amour records ever, really, in the groups. I highly recommend the label. So that's it as far as new stuff. But since it's right here, I want to just show a couple more Marley albums. Because I do I rate Bob Marley, and once I became familiar with his story, learning that his father was a white man and how he was an outcast in his own, I forget what they call him, because of that, he was an outsider. I understand. When in the Righteous Vibration band with Bobby and Mello and the other Money, I learned the book of Bob Marley. So I learned, like this album here, I love Natural Mystic. I know a lot of this, so much things to say. We learned all, almost jamming. Of course we learned that. Waiting in Vain, Three Little Birds. I know practically this entire album. It's fantastic. This one too, Rastaman Vibration. How does this one start? No, it's B-side, Crazy Baldhead. We used to love that. Everyone in the band, it was something about the words. Them crazy. Run them crazy baldhead out of town. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Fantastic. Kaya. Yeah. And then this is really what helped to break him, the live album, into the larger white audience. Fantastic album. Natty Dread. I don't have the lighter cover for Burnin'. It would be nice to have, but at a recent record show, my friend Joe Benson bought one. He got it for $70. It was just kind of beat. I wouldn't have bought it, but he did. Some early stuff. And the early stuff is really good. That's why when I started to go back and pick up on these discount releases of early material where it's been licensed dozens of times, the Marleys don't see any money from this, but these early tracks are fantastic. And we used to do some of the early stuff. What was Duppy Conqueror? I loved playing that, Duppy Conqueror. And then, of course, I've got more. I just grabbed these, The Legend. So the last thing I'll say is it's Black History Month, and it's just a very weird time. And the whole time that, I just knew that, the whole race issue in America was not getting any better and was going to get worse once Obama was elected. I knew it was going to be just a tidal wave of shit going down regarding race relations. And that's what it's been. It don't even make sense. Black History Month. Black History Month? What? See, that's racist in and of itself. Our history is a history. But you have to take us and separate us and put us on second lower class. Oh, Black History Month. That's separate from the history of America. It's not as important. It's not the real deal. And then it's the shortest month of the year, February. Oh, well, that's because we wanted to align it with the Martin. Shut the fuck up. How convenient for you that it's the shortest month of the year. Black people to this day are hated by the country. What I mean is the people who can set the tone because of their money and their resources. It's worse than ever. So this whole idea that the United States is honoring black people this month is a fucking joke. I'm history every motherfucking day. All right? How's that? Okay, folks, that's what I have to say. Share your comments with me.